These are particularly challenging texts from the scriptures as we hear about how Jeremiah is really rejected by the leaders of the people and, in fact, persecuted. And then we hear Jesus saying some very, very difficult things about bringing division, a fire upon the earth. However, as we reflect on these texts from scriptures, what comes to mind for me is that we are invited to take seriously one of the gifts of the Holy Spirit that sometimes we don't acknowledge, and that is the gift of prophecy, our ability to be prophetic, and as we respond to the gospel. Prophecy, of course, is about, first of all, saying those things that are uncomfortable, making sure that we don't go along life in a haphazard way and ignore the problems that, in fact, are really there. So often, as I have worked with families in confronting a member of the family for substance abuse, for instance, it has gone on too long and has disrupted the family, and there was a real hesitation to even address it. And yet it took the prophetic witness of some members of the family to say, no, this is not right. We need to uncover this real aspect of our family as it's tearing us apart. Because the real temptation is to convince ourselves that we're perfect. Our family's perfect, our nation's perfect, our church is perfect, our organization is perfect, and so we don't want to, in a way, upend the apple cart to draw attention to the things that need attention, need help. A prophet is one who's not afraid of the difficulties and the incompleteness of life, because it's in the incompleteness of life that God's grace actually works. And so today we're called to have that kind of prophetic voice, to make sure that we don't make easy compromises over difficulties that are facing us squarely in the world. Whether it's the difficulties that we have on the world stage of war and peace, or in our own families, of things that really need to be said in a way that uncovers the truth. But prophecy also is not a matter of badgering or nagging someone, but rather prophecy always has to work towards dialogue, an exchange between people, to see that what's important in that prophecy is to draw others in a relationship with one another. And it is in that relationship that new ideas and insights can come about. I've seen that, for instance, with families talking about substance abuse or domestic abuse in their family. It is an opportunity for those in the family to see how they really are related to one another and what's important. The same is true whenever bullying happens in school. Sometimes those who are bullying have other issues, maybe in their own home or in their environment that they're suffering from. And dialogue can, in fact, draw that out, to treat the situation not just as a matter of violence that has to be addressed, but really as a hunger or a thirst or a wound in the life of the other person, to really appreciate what the other person is going through. And finally, Jesus draws attention in this whole notion of prophecy that he gives as having an impact on family. I think unless that dialogue helps us recognize that we are all family together, then the prophecy will not bring about the end result. I think that's true, for instance, with the social ills that we have in society today of racism and bigotry, or the way that people are so very easily dehumanized in the acts of war. And we forget that we're all one family before God. And so I pray each day for peace in Ukraine and in that war, but also for the people who live in the Gaza Strip, that those who are hostages will be released, but also that the people living in Gaza will be treated in a way that's humane. Because whenever we begin to treat people as inhuman, as of no account whatsoever in the work that's being done, we lose some of our own humanity, because we forget that we are family to one another. So today is an opportunity to ask the Lord to give us that gift of the Spirit, that prophetic gift of the Spirit, a gift that allows us to live with the incomplete in life and be willing to hold up what is true in a situation, but also that we will be prophetic in a way that enters into a dialogue, that sees the relationships that we have with one another as core and central to any resolution. And finally, that we will recognize each other as family members, as brothers and sisters, no matter the conflict or the challenge that we face, and that we are all in this together. That truly then will be a use of the great charismatic gift that is given in the Spirit, the gift of prophecy, that allows us to live with the in-between in life, the incomplete, that drives us into dialogue with one another and reminds us that we are all brothers and sisters together in one family.